No.
From the moment my kids wake up, especially my 6-year-old daughter,
Yeah.
she is on 1,000 from the moment she wakes up.
Oof. All right. The latest from Kyrie, from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. You ready for this one?
Talk to me.
Harry Douglas in for Key and for Jay today. If Kyrie Irving cannot reach an agreement to stay with Brooklyn, in other words, if Brooklyn's not like, all right, we'll stop playing games, we'll just guarantee all 4 years. He has a list of teams he'd like them to consider on sign and trades. The list includes the Los Angeles Lakers, the San Diego Clippers. Oh, no, I guess I'm supposed to call them the L.A. Clippers. Come on, get out of here.
Max, you're something else.
Let's be honest, the Clippers. The Knicks, the Heat, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Sixers. By the way, none of those teams have cap space to sign him without the Nets' help. And would the Nets help them? Basically send KD out of town, right? You got to figure if Brooklyn botches it to the point where Kyrie is gone, how long before KD is like, come on, man, I'm out of here. So, well, he's under contract. Oh, shut up, nerds. If a guy wants to leave, there's nothing you can do. There's no, well, he signed a 4-year day. If a guy don't want to play there, you're going to get rid of him.
That's been proven. James Harden,
Right.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, absolutely. Even look what's just happened in Sacramento. Jaden Ivey's on Detroit right now. He hadn't even played an NBA game. He got to exactly where he wanted to go. Is it possible, Harry, that he would really wind up on one of those other teams and the Nets would help? Is this just Kyrie and his agent trying to create some leverage here?
I think it is. When I look at it from the standpoint, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, right, and you're not going to give them that long-term deal, why let him walk for nothing if you can get something back for him as well? But at the same time, you're wondering, is Kevin Durant going to want to stay? Because that's the big chess piece in this whole ordeal. If we don't give Kyrie Irving this contract, is Kevin Durant going to be disgruntled? Is he going to want to leave as well? So when I look at this and I look at the Lakers, right, and for it to work out, he would essentially have to play for what, $6 million?
Yeah, mid-level exception.
I don't even know how that's going to be acceptable for Kyrie if he wants a long-term deal.
Let's think about this logically. Why would Kyrie tell the Nets, yeah, the $30+ million a year you want to give me the first 2 years is because you won't guarantee the second 2 years, you imagine, unless I play, Bobby Marks mentioned 67 games because that's 80% of the games, right? Give or take. Unless I play 80% of the games. That I'm so mad that you won't guarantee all whatever $200 million, that whatever it is, that I'm going to take $6 million somewhere else. Of course he's not going to do that.
Like, that's insane.
Of course he's not going to do that.
When I look at the Clippers, and I know a reason why he put that team on the list is because Ty Lue and his relationship with Ty Lue from being in Cleveland. But I'm thinking about if you're the Clippers, who would do number one, do you want that? Number two, who would you swap out? Because the Clippers right now have the best roster in the NBA.
I agree, and the best coach in the NBA.
Yeah,
or certainly one of the two or three.
So do you even want to play with that?
Well, let's put it this way. As great as Paul George is as a two-way player, he's hitting the side of the backboard in the playoffs. Like, Paul George is one of those dudes in the playoffs who does not play like his normal self.
Don't make me laugh.
But come on, let's be honest.
He hit the side of the what?
Side of the backboard. Come on, you saw it.
I know.
So in the playoffs, in a win-or-go-home game. So at home, by the way. So, like, if Paul George was at least his normal self under pressure in the playoffs, okay, but he's not. Now, let me tell you someone who, in the moment of truth, you trust, Kyrie Irving. Whatever you want to say about Kyrie, I've said plenty. Not only is he maybe the most skillful player ever, he is a big shot maker. Kyrie is a big shot maker.
And a bucket getter.
A bucket getter and a big shot maker.
When he wants to get it.
So you put him on that Clippers team, especially if you somehow hold on to Paul George and Kawhi and they're healthy.
Thing. I don't know how you can hold on to both of those guys if you're bringing Kyrie. Because if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I'm requesting one of them.
Yeah.
I'm requesting one of them. If
maybe you're requesting, but you might not be getting.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not making a deal.
So, okay, that's the Clippers. And plus, the Clippers have never been to a conference finals, ever, in their entire history.
Yep.
What's that?
The Knicks.
They went to the conference final last year.
Who?
The Clippers.
Were they in the
conference? The Suns.
Was that not the second round? I can't even picture them in the conference finals. That's how long it's been. But, okay.
Let's get to the Knicks.
Okay, that's the Clippers. Let's go to the Lakers for a second.
Go to the Lakers?
If another reason you can't play for the Clippers, if you play in Los Angeles and you are Kyrie Irving, and you idolized Kobe Bryant, you can't not play for the Lakers. You cannot play. The Clippers, they say they play in Los Angeles. If you ask people in L.A., they won't tell you they play. Let's get out of here with the Clippers. The Lakers, you must play for the Lakers, especially if you are marquee, if you are Kyrie Irving. Of course you want to take the mantle from Kobe. And think about this. LeBron James is 114 years old. He's got to give the keys to the franchise to someone. It's not going to be Anthony Davis. He's brittle. He's not a primary ball handler anyway.
Well, you can't count on him to stay healthy.
Here's the keys, Kyrie, to the Los Angeles Lakers. In the meantime, you play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. How's the fit of those three? That works. LeBron, Kyrie, and AD. The Lakers make a lot of sense. But for the $6 million exception?
I don't see that happening.
Okay.
Not for $6 million.
Let's get to the New York Knicks. Your brother was drafted and played for the Knicks, Harry?
2009, first round.
Bing bang.
Tough defender.
I think it was 9 threes in one game, too.
Could shoot from the outside.
Yep. St. Patty's Day game, I believe it was.
Kyrie Irving to the Knicks. Why would Kyrie want to play for the New York Knicks?
Well, first of all, why would Kyrie want to play for Tibbs if you don't want to play for Kenny Atkinson? That's the first question people need to ask, because Tibbs is a harder coach in my eyes than Kenny Atkinson. He is going to demand that you practice. He's going to demand that you play. He's going to demand that you play defense. So why would Kyrie Irving want to do that?
Let me ask you a bigger question about, let's just point out about how laughable the Knicks are. The whole point of the Knicks is to become a desirable destination, is to create the kind of culture that is a magnet. Now, what do players want? Players want to win,
Yep.
right? Has Tibbs ever won a championship as a head coach?
No.
He will get you to be respectable. He'll get the defense, the guys that play hard on
You're gonna
defense.
have a tough team.
You're going to have a tough-nosed team. You're going to be bounced in the second round, partly because, if you're lucky, partly because they're burnt by the time the playoffs roll around.
Yes.
So, yes, you want to win, but you also want to be in the kind of culture in which you want to play. And, yes, both are possible. You can play in a culture that you want. The Miami Heat are hard-nosed, and they can burn guys out, but you ain't going to stop in the second round, right?
No.
Not Pat Riley. Okay. Why would he want to play for a team that's thinking we need to become the kind of place that draw? And they not just hire Tibbs, they double down on Tom Thibodeau.
He's our guy.
He's our guy. What? Kyrie Irving going to want to play there?
I don't see it. Even though Madison Square Garden is the mecca, the most famous arena when it comes to basketball. You think about basketball, it's hard not to think about Madison Square Garden. Like you said, my brother played there, so I spent a lot of time there. I went there with Alan Hahn this year when they played the Chicago Bulls, and the Knicks were having a losing season or weren't playing up to their standards. The place was still packed out, and they happened to beat the Chicago Bulls at the time. Alec Burks went hitting threes after threes after threes. But I just don't see Kyrie Irving in a Knicks uniform.
Kyrie Irving's not going to no Knicks. Let me tell you something. Since the Patrick Ewing era ended, you know why the Garden is packed? You go to the Garden because star players come through from other teams because they have to play the Knicks, and you get to see the best players in the NBA because you're an NBA team.
And they seem to have their best performances when they go
at Madison
Square.
Madison Square Garden. By the way, I was, as a kid, would stand on a line around the block in the middle of the night. I break day for Knicks playoff tickets, because if you didn't have season tickets, you had to break this to get nosebleed tickets. I was an insane Knicks fan as a kid, right? But that's the truth of the matter. Madison Square Garden's known most for being called the Mecca. The Mecca of what? Well, they don't even have a competitor. What, are they joking? Kyrie's going to want to go play in that dysfunction? So let's knock the Knicks off the list. Knock the Clippers off the list, even though $6 million mid-level is unlikely for the Lakers. I'm going to knock the Lakers off the list.
Yeah.
There's got to be a strong draw for Kyrie. But let me ask you this. If you're Kyrie and your guy, Kevin Durant, is your leverage with the organization, he stuck his neck out for you and all that, are you leaving him when you haven't finished the job with him? Not only now everyone's saying, oh, look, Steph could win a championship without KD. Can KD do it without Steph? Now you're going to go back to his chief rival in this era, LeBron James, and people are going to say, I don't know, Kyrie won a chip with LeBron, couldn't get it done with KD, couldn't win a chip with Kyrie. Why could LeBron? And then he goes back to LeBron. Do you see that happening?
Man, that would be hurtful. It would be hurtful because Kevin Durant so far in this entire situation has had Kyrie Irving's back 100%. And he went out there and stuck his neck on the line for the team, for Kyrie, when he wasn't injured and was able to play. Now, Kyrie didn't get the vaccination. I'm not going to get into, what people believe in and what that whole ordeal. Do I think he should have got the vaccination? Yes, but that's his decision. That's what he made. And at the same time, I thought it hurt the team because they couldn't build that chemistry. So when they got to playoff time, you've seen a lot of disarray. You've seen a lot of guys trying to gel together, and that's the wrong time. And then you run into a Boston Celtics team who defensively was the best in the league, and now it looks like you're discombobulated out there on the court offensively.